Today on Aging Untold, the dangers of dehydration.
You may feel confused, you may have dizziness, low blood pressure, which is why people start falling.
We'll reveal the critical warning signs you need to know and why older adults are especially vulnerable. Plus, when family disagreements threaten the care of your loved ones.
And then you get together as a sibling group, and automatically it's not you're an adult, it's you're my baby sister.
We'll explore how sibling rivalry can complicate caregiving for mom and dad and offer strategies to find common ground and keep the peace. Then, a deadly disparity in healthcare. We take an in-depth look at why more Black women die from cancer and a groundbreaking study aiming to change outcomes. Experts with advice and solutions. You're watching Aging Untold with Aging Well Coach Catherine Ambrose, gerontologist Sam Craddock, aging expert Amy O'Rourke, and board-certified physician Dr. Ray Rogers. We're all getting older. It's about time we talked about it.
Welcome to Aging Untold. We're talking about a critical health issue that often goes unnoticed until it's too late: dehydration. While it can affect anyone, older adults are especially susceptible. Dr. Ray, can you explain why seniors are at greater risk?
Yes, as we get older, our sense of thirst is weakened. And so by the time you feel like you're thirsty, you're already dehydrated. And the problem is it affects many different systems. So you may feel confused, you may have dizziness, low blood pressure, which is why people start falling, constipation even, and triggering the urinary tract infections and kidney function, all that. And one of the biggest things is behavior. This sudden change in behavior really is like a delirium. And so you can have significant consequences from that in terms of electrolyte abnormalities. A lot of people end up getting hospitalized. The other thing that happens is people don't want to, they start lessening their fluid intake because they don't want to have to get up to go to the restroom in the night. They don't want to fall per se, and they don't want to have accidents.
Well, I think it's a real problem. A third of the older people that are admitted to the hospital over 65 are dehydrated. I mean, it's the baseline. So, and what I like people to do, instead of thinking, oh, I got to drink my 7 to 9 cups of water a day.
Right.
Eat watermelon, cucumbers, iceberg lettuce. Eat foods that are rich in water. And if you've been sick, you've been vomiting or had diarrhea and you've lost a lot of fluid, add more fluid, because it's really amazing how much you lose when you're ill.
And you have to realize that a lot of our medications, a lot of our aged community are on a Lasix, a water pill, a diuretic, whichever one you want to call it. But that also depletes that out of your system. So if you're on those, you have to have more fluid intake. And also your doctor should have you on potassium.
Right,
and I've seen those, and I've seen that not be prescribed
and
behavior.
One of the things people can do is they can look at the little subtle signs, like look at the person's mouth might be dry, but look at the urine.
Oh yeah.
That urine will be dark. You'll know if they're drinking or not. And another solution that I found that older adults like, Pedialyte. It'll give them the fluids and the electrolytes.
Sure.
Okay, good tip.
Yeah.
So maybe it'll help for people to understand that this is really about your brain health, your balance, and your energy.
Sure.
And
heart health.
There you go. And so if you want to be stronger longer, or help your loved ones stay stronger longer, this is really an important topic.
Yeah. So when I talk to families about this, it is getting continence protection. Number one, because if the fear is you're going to leak or you're going to have an accident, so you're not drinking, please wear protection. Don't take that away from yourself. Pain control. If you're hurting too bad to get up and go to the restroom, then you need to be seeing somebody about having that pain under control. Mm-hmm. If you're drinking and you've got this cup sitting here, well, that cup can be heavy. That full cup can be heavy, and maybe I've got arthritic hands. Maybe my elbow hurts. Maybe my wrist hurts. So straws, lighter weight cups, don't fill them as full. I see families that want to fill them all the way up. Okay, you have to drink the full thing. Well, I can't lift the full thing, so I'm not going to drink any of it. And so using a straw, though, is actually one of the quickest tricks to helping out, is give a flexible straw and and let that person, because you don't realize how much you're actually intaking when you're using a straw.
And you don't have to get it all in one setting. You
Right.
can be sipping throughout the day.
Right.
The other tip I like to give is if you're the caregiver and all of a sudden your dad doesn't want to go somewhere, ask the question, are you worried that if you're out, you're going to have to go to the bathroom? Like, have the conversation with them and try to figure out some solutions with them. They might be so embarrassed, like you were talking about earlier,
yeah.
they might be so embarrassed that they're just going to stop moving in isolation. Then it makes things even worse because you're not getting out and about.
Right, now you're going to incorporate a cascade of additional problems. I think that one thing that's kind of cute and fun to think about is the younger generations that are carrying their personalized water bottle wherever they go. They go to such great lengths to pick out the perfect water bottles, or they have a huge collection of them. Every holiday, it's a big scramble to get the new one that's just come out, or to special order with your name engraved on it. And so I think we should take a cue from that and maybe incorporate that and make drinking like a little more special, like my granddaughter gave this to me.
It really is important. People overlook it, but it's one of the most common reasons that the elderly end up in the emergency room.
It's one of the common reasons for a
Absolutely.
fall because of the dizziness and the lower blood pressures.
And not to
And
get
the
morbid,
confusion.
but death.
Yeah.
Dehydration.
Oh, yeah.
People die. I don't know what
It's so easy. Their immune system is so depressed. You have a shorter window to where you can't recover when you become septic or infected.
Coming up, we'll examine the reasons behind higher cancer deaths among Black women and introduce a groundbreaking study with hopes of saving more lives. But first, when you can't agree to disagree,
Don't go in expecting that you're all going to get along, and realize that there's strength in disagreement.
we'll peel back the layers on sibling conflict in caregiving and help you find solutions when it comes to your parents' well-being.
Welcome back to Aging Untold. Caregiving for aging parents can be a complex and emotional journey. And for many, this can bring sibling disagreements to the forefront. Sam, what do you think is at the root of these conflicts?
Everybody's grieving. The moment you find out that your parent or your loved one is in a declined health state, it hits you. You're potentially losing them. You're dealing with their mortality. You're thinking about your own mortality. And then you get together as the sibling group, and automatically it's not you're an adult, it's you're my baby sister or you're my big brother. And so we roll back into those roles, and we don't lean on each other's experience and each other's strengths enough. All of us have life experience, all of us have life strengths, and we get into these childhood roles of I'm the big sister and I'm going to tell you what to do, or you're the little one you don't know. And so we have to realize that grief is in different stages, and you start anticipatory grief is what it's called. It is that grief of anticipating the loss, but all along the way there are little losses. And so it's true grief, and you're in different stages.
Yeah.
So I might be angry while you're in acceptance.
I think the key is to expect it. I like to normalize it. I'm the fourth of 6 children. Sibling rivalry was what I grew up with. But don't go in expecting that you're all going to get along, and realize that there's strength in disagreement. So ask a lot of questions of your siblings. What are you thinking? What are you wanting? What's on your mind? And then let go of the need to be right. I've seen this happen where I'm so scared, I want my way and I want to be right. If you feel that way, just let go. It's all gray. There's no black or white here.
And then the other thing is you never know what the underlying family dynamics were beforehand.
Right.
So they could have already been big disarray, The other thing too is we're all grieving in different ways. We don't know how to explain it. And sometimes just getting to each other and just giving each other a hug. Just giving each other a hug. Just says, I understand, we're in it together.
Give each other grace and love. That's going to diffuse a lot of things. One of the dangers is when someone in the family, or perhaps more than one person, say, well, no one needs to know our business.
Oh, yeah.
Let's just keep this to ourselves. Well, here's the deal. There's people that are working in your local area that are in the aging space, have been in there for years and years, have all kinds of training and experience, and they can really be there for you.
I see some jealousy sometimes where mom or dad or whoever it is has chosen this specific sibling to be their decision maker. And so then the others oftentimes feel maybe left out or not valued as much. And what I got to say to that is, number one, I personally, it's a personal belief system, I will not choose one of my children, not one of my 4, to be in that position, because I don't want to be the one that creates the rivalry. I don't want to add to that myself. I've made that choice. But if you do choose a child, make sure that you talk to your other kids about the whys. You are still the parent. You're still the one that can help settle these things. So explain, it's not that I chose them over you. It's that they understand this facet of life better.
And know who the decision maker is. And if it's not you, you're not in the driver's seat, and figure out a way to really work with the person who is making the decisions.
Be a good passenger.
Be a good passenger.
Be a good
well
passenger.
said.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what would it look like to prioritize safety and dignity first? That could solve a lot of things right there.
Coming up, from hobby to heartfelt career, we'll introduce you to an artist whose passion and precision behind his masterpieces are hundreds of hours in the making. But first,
we can help just save one person, I feel like I've done my part.
how a radio host is lending her voice to save the most vulnerable demographic of women in the fight against cancer.
Cancer is the top killer in the United States, and Black women face the highest death rate and shortest survival of any racial or ethnic group. That's why in 2024, the American Cancer Society announced an ambitious study to help save more lives. And as reporter Heather Graff explains, it could be critical in the search for answers.
What's up, family? It's your Radio Love Asia, and I'm giving you all the songs you love for your weekend soundtrack.
Asia Chandler talks for a living
I'm a radio personality,
and stays connected to her community,
giving away 3,000 backpacks.
but she wishes more people would talk about this.
My cousin has breast cancer. My mom had a battle with stomach cancer. My aunt passed away in like 99 to cancer. 2 of my very best friends both have double mastectomies, both breasts removed. It's an ugly disease.
A disease that is disproportionately affecting Black women, not just in Asia's life, but across the country. Statistics show they have an 8% lower cancer incidence than white women, but a 12% higher cancer mortality. And Black women under age 50 are twice as likely to die of breast cancer than white women.
Do you worry about getting cancer?
Of course, we all do. It seems like when the studies are done, they're not people like me. They're not done on women like myself. And so when trying to create a treatment plan, you don't have the knowledge.
It's true, according to researchers with the American Cancer Society.
And due to those low numbers, a lot of what we know and understand about cancer may not be relevant specific to this population.
And they're trying to change that with the organization's recently announced study called Voices of Black Women. Doctors Lauren McCullough and Alpa Patel are co-leads on this massive effort that aims to enroll 100,000 Black women across the 20 states seen here in red, along with Washington, D.C. Those locations chosen because ACS says they're home to more than 90% of Black women in the U.S. But they acknowledge it won't be easy to reach that enrollment goal of 100,000 women, in part due to past inequities and even mistreatment of Black communities in medical research and care. The ACS has found about a third of African American women say they've experienced racial discrimination at a health provider visit.
How do you work to overcome that and any distrust that might cause?
I think the first thing is really understanding the perspectives and the experiences of women, ensuring that our study team was representative of the population, because it does matter. The second thing is really building trust with these communities.
5 minutes now past the top of the hour.
Asia Chandler says she too decided to take part. And as a public figure, she plans to keep talking about it both on the air and off.
So I encourage people all the time to sign up.
Even the name of this study, For Asia,
21212.
hits home.
Because we need to use our Black voices. We need to be heard, and we'll do it together.
I think what I got from this is the voices of Black women, like the power of getting the word out, and that I just would want a groundswell of people to join it to offset the racism that's occurring in the healthcare industry, and maybe their voice will become louder, more powerful to help correct this problem.
Right. I loved how they said be a change maker. And Ray, that's really what you're doing, is being a change maker here, because you've had your own breast cancer experience.
Yes,
so
absolutely.
Tell us a little bit about what you learned going through that.
Well, what I learned is people hear the word cancer and they don't hear anything else. They only hear 10% of what you say. And what I learned is that it's just a diagnosis. That's how I took it. And I tell people, it's not a death sentence, it's a diagnosis. So once you hear that diagnosis, you get your feet up and you see what it is that you need to do. And I tell people, it's a difference now when people come to me as a physician. They can come to me, I can tell them what the textbook says about it. But now that I've lived it, I can walk with them in a different way.
And thank God you survived, because we love having you here with us.
Well, but I tell them, you know what? People, when you have that diagnosis of cancer, you're not a survivor, you're a conqueror.
There you go.
Conqueror, I love
I
that.
love it.
And you really are, because you went on a mission to find out why, and you learned so much, and now you're going to be imparting that to millions of people across the country.
Yeah.
Love it.
Up next, his memories inspire him to create.
I made a joke about it. I said, I used to have a hobby, now I got a business.
The miniature masterpieces that tell the story of life on the Louisiana Bayou.
His whole life, Ray Dewey worked on boats like the ones he carves. And now what started as a relaxing hobby has become a labor of love. Photojournalist Derek Waldrop introduces us to the Bayou Cajun craftsman.
I sit there sometimes and I watch him do it, and it's amazing.
It all comes natural to me.
Everything he does is from his memory, no pictures.
Start to finish, anywhere from 300 to 400 hours.
It's boats he either worked on or he witnessed as he was shrimping and trolling.
Like this propeller, I already got over 3 hours on it, and I'm about 75% complete.
How can somebody really do something like that piece by piece by piece, you know?
When you're Cajun, things stick to you. See, once you sand it, how smooth it gets.
My dad's been working on boats pretty much his whole life, and he started carving. The more he started doing it, the more I realized that he's got a natural born talent.
When I'll get there and start working on that, I forget about everything. I got 23 great grandkids, and I worry a lot about them, you know, and it relaxes me.
Everything is by hand. Nailed, puttied, sanded by hand. He's an old Cajun that everything is just Cajun ingenuity.
On a Easter Sunday we met, because we go to the dance hall every Saturday, and we got to dancing and, you know, stuff like that. And he kind of had a fight with my old boyfriend. And then we got married, so like I said, it's over 60 and a half years. He was the kind that couldn't keep still, or he had to do something. He had to keep, you know, himself occupied.
When I was growing up, my daddy used to build his own pirogues.
Cajun people that settled the bayous, and they were trappers and shrimpers and oystermen. Everyone made their living from the land.
And I was always with him, interested in that. So he put me aside a piece of wood and gave me some little tool to start working on that.
They go out into the open waters and they shrimp, and each boat is built just like that. One of them, the oyster lugger, is from 1909, so he built it identical to what he remembers.
That was my best boat. I love that boat.
It blew my mind that the talent he has, and I wanted to share it. So that's why I created a page for him on Facebook. That way we could share his talent with everyone.
She decided to put him on Facebook. Then I made a joke about it. I said, I used to have a hobby, now I got a business.
So that's why he's building these models to protect our heritage.
People is gonna see that and they're gonna start remembering back or look back at the past to see what was what before.
That's where you come from. That's the Cajun way of living.
The whole time I was thinking, I really don't understand why I wasn't born in Louisiana. I think I would fit right in. Man, I love that dialect. I just loved the whole story. I love the water and the boats. Amazing.
Yeah. Amazing.
I love how he preserved the history, his memories, and showing people how you're going to be able to tell this story of what really went on. And then the manual dexterity.
Lapse, right.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. And think about what the children are getting with all that history in the boats, in the spirit, their tradition. It was beautiful. I was being lulled by his voice. It was so musical. You know what I mean?
300 to 400 hours. That's more than a full-time job right there.
Also, what he said about preserving the history, but I'm just going to give it out here to the children, and they can go look up the other history, and I can fill in the gaps. Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
We're all getting older, and it's about time we talk about it. Until next time on Aging Untold.
On the next Aging Untold, knowing if it's still safe for your loved one to drive.
We don't have to go all or nothing, and I think that's what everybody's so afraid of, is you either get to drive or you don't get to.
We'll tell you what to look out for and when, and how to have that conversation about giving up the keys.